And starting with the cough. Hello, hello. Allergies are still strong. In the old Poland. Let's check the audio first, as usual. How about Twitch audio? 1, 2, 1, 2, microphone check. I think it's working. 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, I have audio on Twitch. Let's see audio on YouTube. YouTube microphone check. Microphone check. Microphone check. YouTube microphone check. Microphone check. Alright, I think we're in. I think we're live, we're ready. And let's get this stuff going. Let me only... Was that one? Let me quickly turn on the documentation. That shit doesn't work. That shit does work. Wait, what? Is it that one? It looks weird. Oh, that one looks okay. Give me a quick second. I'll be right back. Sorry for that quick pause. I needed to quickly grab some tissues because allergies are kicking ass right now. And probably will be kicking ass for a little bit of more time. Sorry for that. So, as you can see from me launching the Unreal Engine documentation, today I want to explore learning agents. What the fuck does learning agents mean? And is it AI? Is it neural network? Is it generative network? Not really. None of that. None of that. So, let's start this fragment of my stream board here. I was decoding motion matching in the game animation sample project, so-called GASP. And here we'll be taking a peek at learning agent. What the hell is that, right? First of all, it is machine learning. This is machine learning, which means we are working with neural networks in here, right? Dexterovsky is here. Hi. Hello, how are you? I'm really good. How are you? Allergies are kicking my ass a little bit. Not cat allergies, mind you. Just let me adjust it. Just regular allergies that are expected at this time of year. Spring. And how are you? How are the things going? Long time no see. Yeah, so we'll be dealing with machine learning, neural networks. What it doesn't mean, it's not generative AI. It's not Gen AI. That thing, it is not. There is no generation of any asset, nothing. Leksidowski says, oh, same here as well. Can't sleep because of that. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, like, I only have singular days when I don't have to take my steroid based, how the fuck it's even called in English? Nose drops? That sounds not right. But you know, application to a nose. And regular medicine for allergies. And even with that, it's still like fucking up my nostrils and everything, sinuses. Yeah, I feel you, Dexterovsky. I feel you. And once I do start to, you know, sleep, it's not like the best quality of sleep, like the super full resting sleep. It's like you're kinda slightly awake, right? Damn, it's nice that it's warmer, spring and sun, but damn the fucking pollen. Hardcore. And how are you doing Unreal wise? Still using the cloud code and exploring that? Or did you switch to the Unreal branch that you shared on Discord? Like completely? So, just to finish the intro as soon as possible, what does that all of that means? Means that Epic provided us with like kind of black box neural network, which means that it's basically artificial neurons, right? And an API to train it on the data that you wanted to train, right? So, for example, you know, you can train it either via reinforcement. Wait. You can train the neural network inputs, and as an output, it will be able to forward some data to, for example, its character controller, right? The idea is that for where to yeah. Also, there's a difference between reinforcement learning and imitation learning, right? Basically, at least that's what I remember still from university. Here, we don't really set up anything as a base for neural network of how to behave. It's more like we are creating this reward function. And neural networks outputs whatever. We are judging it by the reward function, and if it did well, the reward will be big. Function. Good output, right? Then we are reinforcing that these are the weights of the neural network, and we are committing to them, right? If the results are bad, then it's like, no, we need to completely change the weight. Change the weights slightly. Or don't do anything, right? Or nothing. And basically, neural networks are constantly changing their internal weights until the reward function is maximized. The value of reward function is maximized. Imitation is kind of similar, but at first we are, to speak in gameplay terms, we are recording our own playthrough. Recording our own playthrough. And based on our recording, it adjusts the neural network weights in such a way to output this data, and then from that you can train it a bit more. It gives it a little bit of starting point, and you can train the neural network for very specific situations, right? That might be harder to get to with with reinforcement. So with that intro out of the way, I just want to get into the documentation and the Unreal Engine itself. And let's read what Dexterovsky responded with. Yeah, Claude is so powerful. I started to work on something bigger and even bought that plan for 100 euros. Wow! Because I was constantly running out of the usage limit. Wow! The thing is called multiplayer gameplay recorder, which allows you to bake recorded gameplay into sequencer, and yeah, it works even in package build. Save the demo, put into engine, edit. Nice! Nice! So you're committing to that, right? To the multiplayer gameplay recorder. That will be, you know, in the sequencer. Will it be a plugin that you are planning to release on GitHub, Fab, or whatever? And damn, I see you're going in on Claude. I think next month, because of right now money is a little bit tight, next month I might start to explore Claude, really. I hear more and more like bubbles of information percolating to the surface in my friend circle, right? About this, the Claude Code being the one actual Gen AI that you can install on your PC, right? That actually you can create a workflow with that is multiplicative instead of like you being constantly annoyed at the AI that it's not really doing what you wanted it to do, and you cannot. It actually takes more time to, you know, force AI to do exactly what you want than work with it. About Claude, I heard that it is the one that actually can be used by programmers in a multiplicative way, right? Dexterovsky says about the plugin. I'm thinking about it, but firstly I must make sure it's working with my project well. But it seems it will be working nicely. Nice. Nice. Damn. So you jumped up to the 100 euro plan, huh? Yeah, also I think like Anthropic, the Claude, I think they might be, I haven't checked that, but they might cross the threshold soon where they will actually start making a profit, right? Because like OpenAI doesn't make a profit, Gemini nobody knows because it's a part of big Google, Llama from Meta, Facebook, I don't even know who the fuck uses that. But yeah, in April, I would love to do like one stream when I will have, you know, Claude code, and we'll be just exploring what I can. I don't know. I don't even know where to start with it, but you know, we would try to explore that. But nice, nice. So the plugin is going. Alright, alright. Alright, alright. Goddamn balloon. Nice, nice. Do you have like, I don't know, maybe pro tips at the start, like of what would be do's and don'ts with the Cloud Code and Unreal Engine specifically? Alright, so here is the whole documentation for the learning agents in Unreal. Basically, yeah, maybe let's also say why is it interesting at all, right? Because with that, with all of that, that was like an intro, right? Why it's interesting to me? Because you can create like bots, either through reinforcement or imitation, doesn't matter, but bots that might be playing your game and help you do automatic QA testing, right? One of the things. Or you can make them run nightly on a build machine or whatever, and for example find balancing issues, all the showstoppers, etc. Also, quite probably you could have like a state tree or behavior tree, right? State tree or behavior tree combined with agent to make your enemies behave better. Like for example, with the state tree, you can, turn on specific behaviors, and then those behaviors are being run through your actual neural agents, right? So, for example, certain moves might be more, how to say it, natural looking or whatever, or if something goes outside of the parameters that you thought about in state tree or behavior tree, maybe your agent can get back to the fighting zone or whatever. There's lots of stuff that you could use it for, like those bots, right? And also, possibly, one of the things that you could maybe use it for is kind of like Left 4 Dead. I think 2 specifically had this AI game director or whatever it was called, right? That was constantly looking at how you as a crew were playing and kind of like dungeon mastering the whole level, like which way you should go, which way it will block, how many enemies it will spawn, etc. So you can, train your AI dungeon master. Maybe instead of game there, I should write dungeon master, AI dungeon master, right? And you can train it on yourself, right? You don't have to do anything more. You can play sessions, for example, with your friends. Theirs play as you as dungeon master, running the imitation neural network, right? And play through lots of sessions with them, and maybe dungeon master will learn some cool tricks from you, and then you can do some state tree and behavior tree on it, like the application of those learning agents. And I also realized I have a typo. Oh, wrong color. Is you can be very creative with that, right? Dexterowski says about the pro tip with the Claude Code and Unreal Engine. Context is the most important thing. Give him needed source files and it is gonna do everything. Oh, okay. I heard something a little bit about that. That with Cloud Code, it's the keeping up the context between sessions is extremely important. That you can save it as markdown files, right? People I heard are calling it skills or whatever, or context files. So whenever you turn off your PC, turn it on back again. At the beginning, you can load up the whole context. From what I understood, watching like some YouTube shorts or whatever. And I see you are kind of confirming that, right? That without the context, it will be just like every other AI. And it is gonna do everything. Yeah, that's what I mean, from what I heard, of course, it cannot do blueprints yet, and materials yet, and all the other things that is being saved as a binary file. I wouldn't be surprised if Epic Games would start working with Anthropic on something. Wouldn't be surprised at all. But yeah. I mean, the one thing that be honest, I'm most excited about maybe trying out Cloud Code is boilerplate code. Like the amount of boilerplate code that you have to write to create your own Slate tool for the editor, it's annoying. It's super annoying to me, right? And the fact that it could help me with that, great. And also like exploring plugins that have no documentations or code that has no documentations and asking it to like review the code for you, like, hey, I want to work with this and this plugin, how should I go about it, etc. As a tool for learning, amazing. Yeah, I really want to explore that. Dexterowski says, yeah, in Claude terminal is a terminal. In Claude terminal, it is a markdown file. I am still using web-based thing. Ah, okay, okay. So we can also load all this context in the web-based. Okay. Okay. I didn't know. I thought that maybe you had to install the terminal on your PC to give it access to all the files, right? Dexterowski says, yeah, I created 3 editor tools for now. It took 5 minutes for it to create the UI and functionality. Dexterowski says, I create means Claude created. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's like what I'm really excited about. Like trying out do those tools. Not sure if all of the code for that, I want it to be created by that, although I was, want to see the quality of that. But just the boilerplate, so I can then input connection to the proper API from some systems. It would be awesome. Just that, like, just create this boilerplate code, because I am not a big fan of Slate, I'll be honest. I know there are fans, but not me. Yeah, so. What? What the fuck? Okay, I clicked something that I didn't knew existed. Yeah, so this is how potentially you could use learning engines, and sky's the limit, your creativity is the limit, really. And yeah, via reinforcement training, it might take hours. With the imitation, it might be a little bit faster. It's great to set up something, put it on your build machine, and let it run overnight, etc., etc. But, we'll get through all of that right now. Lexerowski says, really worth trying. You should do it as soon as possible. Yeah, like I said, in April I want to sit down to it, because as you said, it demands money. Right now I need money for some other things to get to the end of the month and maybe save up a little bit. But yeah, so this whole learning agents thing is they provided like a tutorial based on the vehicle example. The vehicle example kind of changed from what they had in tutorial, so that also will be a nice thing, because it means that right now if you're using 5.7 and you wanna use it in 5.7 and you see this is the only tutorial that it has, I expect some roadblocks, right? So initial setup I did beforehand of setting up the vehicle example, right? But I haven't turned any plugins on, really. Why are we turning this direct? Yeah, so we got our new vehicle example with extremely close camera, but yeah, we can drive and shit. The usual. Space is a handbrake. I pressed it and I haven't felt that. Oh, tab switches cameras. I don't think none of this. Oh, it is true. Oh, it is a handbrake. All right. And there's no regular brake. No, there is. In the app. No, S doesn't work. S is reverse. Okay. Yeah, okay. So this is our example. They're saying to us that we should clean up the map for the curse. I don't think we have to do this because the map provided by them is simple. Extremely simple. Maybe there are other maps? No, this is vehicle basic, that's it. Some landscape info. They no longer provide those elements, so That is out of the way. Enable learning agent plugin. Okay, let's do that. Learning agent plugin. And we have to restart the editor, but we'll restart it differently. I don't want to click restart. I want to turn on, yes, rider. Load it through that. I also heard, Dexterowski, that there's some way. What the hell? What is its problem? Oh my god. I have problem with Visual Studio Compiler, right? I love that. I really love that. Okay, we'll launch it normally and just hook up the debugger to it. Lovely. I have some Visual Studio problem. The compiler. It happens, which means probably tomorrow at the day job, my start of the day will be really fucking awesome. Yeah, lately, there's the thing. Like, I heard Cloud Code is. Lexowski says it complained about plugin listing, if I saw correctly. Oh, really? Oh, maybe I skimmed over with my eyes so quickly that I missed that somehow. I hope if it is just a plugin dependency, then yes, it's installing Python dependencies. All right. So you gotta restart the editor in the regular way because yes, it is using like Tensor probably or some other Python libraries for training. So it has to install all those dependencies, etc. Okay. Dexterowski, you're right. But regardless, yeah, even today, like I turned on, I had, I don't know, like some epiphany to try to turn on the computer early in the morning, right? And immediately Windows was like, nope, I ain't gonna work. I got the, welcome with the black screen of death that said basically, hey, what did it said? Something went wrong. We are reverting the latest update. And I was like, I haven't clicked on any update. Once again, Microsoft forced its way. But fuck it. And I really wanted to this month buy new SSDs and do a dual boot with Linux and with Ubuntu because that's what Epic is supporting right out of the gate. And I wanted to just switch to that, but fucking SSD prices and availability, I was like, no, it has to wait a little bit. But lately, Microsoft products, not only Windows, but other products as well, have been failing on me way more than usual. They could have used Cloud Code for the vibe coded updates because I heard that the quality of Cloud Code is better than Copilot. But that's the reality that we live in. Alright. Everything loaded in. We will learning module. Oh, it's learning agents. Yes, okay. You were right, Dexterovsky. It was complaining about not containing the module. The first turning on of the editor actually installed the module and its dependencies. So that is funny because with other plugins I can just turn them on and restart via rider and it works perfectly. I guess those additional dependencies require this way of restarting or something. Not really sure about that. Or we can hook up debugger to it. And it will be that. Let's see if the debugger will attach itself. It did. Great. I'm not sure if we'll be looking to the C++ code, but why not? Okay, enable the first class we will get familiar with is learning agents manager. This is an actor component. Agents can be any U object. Oh, that's interesting. I was under the assumption that all the learning agents had to be based on actor, but if it is any U object, now really sky is the limit. You could train your subsystems to do specific things for the world, spawning things, despawning things, depending on what player does. Really, really, really. Really, sky's the limit here. I mean, not sky's the limit. The amount of builders you could have that will be running nightly and time that you can spend on training agents is the limit. Create the manager blueprint, right? Alright, and it should be regular actor, and it should have component of learning agents manager. Alright, let's do that. Oh, there are variants, other variants. Okay. Time trial and off-road. Let's just create a new folder. Learning agents. So we'll use the sports car pawn as our agent. Okay. The manager is extended by a set of listeners which add to the manager's functionality. Interactor, trainer, and recorder. Okay. So that's what's going on. So we are creating new blueprint class. Have you ever used this, Dexterovsky? And the learning agents? I'll be honest, this is the first time I'm using this. Sports car manager, that's how it was supposed to name. Whatever. And just save it. Turn it up. And add learning agents manager. Oh, there's like depth map visualizer, entities. Entities? Can it connect to the mass? Are they, or is it different entities? But if it can connect to mass, the mass plugin, then really you could try to learn how to simulate armies of 2000 entities. Fucking wild, man. Fucking wild. Alright, so let's save it, of course, and also I always forget to turn it on. Debug, widget, reflector, demo mode, mouse click and key. Yeah, so the clicks are actually visible. Dexterovsky says, no, your stream is the first thing where I heard about it. Oh, okay. That's nice, And yeah, for some reason, it's not really talked about plugin, which I don't understand why, because it seems like, I don't know, maybe we will find out during this stream. It might also turn into two-parter if it will be super involved. But it seems like an awesome idea that you can train whatever in your game, right? And then either use it as a bot that will be running in your game, either for automating QA testing, finding balancing issues, or as an NPC, right? Or a part of NPC behavior. It seems extremely enticing to use that. So I don't know why there isn't a bigger commotion about that. Because I remember hearing about it. I googled it quickly, like on Friday, I think. And I was like, alright, are there any materials about it? And I found out that not too many people are covering that. And I'm like, really? Let's find out why that might be the case. Right, so created this, we created learning agent managers, and in the class defaults, oh, it relies on tags. Okay, not a big fan of that, but whatever. It has to connect to other things somehow. So class defaults, right? And regular actor tags? Yeah. Let's input learning agents manager as a tag. Save, compile, blah blah blah. That's the thing that I always dislike about managers made with the blueprints, that you have to remember that you have to always hand place it on the level. If your game is level based, someone will make the error and not use anything of that. Which reminds me, I found if you're a blueprint worker on the old fab, or new fab actually, subsystem, I cannot write for shit. Subsystem. That there is the plugin for actually blueprinting the subsystems. And I might be buying it for the game. Oh shit. Okay, I need a. Dexterovsky says it sounds like Unity managers that also have to be placed by hand in level. Subsystems for the win. Yeah, exactly. And if something really requires a physical actor to be on the level, what I usually do in the day job is create a subsystem that will always, on its begin play, spawn the whatever actor is required. So the user, me and other people, do not have to remember jack shit. And I have to take a quick pause for a bit, quick break. Because I need to give my cats medicine right now. So, a quick break. I'll be giving the medicine. I should be back in like 5 minutes or something. It shouldn't take too long. So, see you. See you real soon. Alright, I'm back. Hello, hello. I'm back. I had to give my cat antibiotics. It took 8 minutes more than I thought, but still he had fun. Thankfully, this antibiotic can be like crushed on a spoon, and we can cover it with his treat, and he just straight licking it off and taking it as he should. My girlfriend figured that trick out, give him the medicine, and it works like a charm. Dexterowski says, "Is he sick?" No, he had to have a procedure done on him. So right now, it's just like, he has after procedure wounds. I don't know how to say it in English properly, but right now he has to take antibiotics for a couple of days just to make sure that whatever could, got to his system will be killed off. Right? So he will be healthy. So it's more of a precaution after the procedure. Thankfully, he's not sick. Everything is all right. The only thing that we have to do in the future is vet told us to go for the eye check to eye specialist, right? Because he either has his tear canals blocked or he straight up doesn't have it, no canals at all, and because there's like a little bit of thing coming out of his eyes sometimes. And this breed, the British Shorthairs, have to have. It's good to check what's going on with their heart early because that's like the most common problem with British Shorthairs, that they might have some heart dysfunctions. So it's best to find it out as quick as possible. So either you can do treatment or do specialized diet for that specific thing that he might have, right? But other than that, to check, he's completely healthy right now. Dexterowski says, okay, I get it. Yeah. Yeah, but he's been such a good boy, such a good boy. Only the night after procedure, it was the first time that he was like truly a menace during the night. He even like knocked over one of my cups, and we couldn't sleep. But we kind of get it. It was like, all right. He was hyperactive, stressed the fuck out, and the only moment he was like able to rest just a bit was when I just stood up from the bed and sat down, and then he approached my legs, and I could, pet him, and that was the only moments where he felt calmer. So, night was out, but happens. Dexterowski says, and you also asked about RTX GI. Yes. It is a plugin ported to 5.7. You can currently have DDGI instead of Lumen, the tech which Arc Raiders was using. So, okay, so right now it's not like the whole branch. It is because I remember that you had to get like the whole NVIDIA branch, right? And now it's just a plugin ported to 5.7, right? Or am I conflating things? And we can have DDGI instead of Lumen. I might have to take a peek at it, right? Right? Let me write this down actually, because I'm always NVRTX is a separate thing. Okay, I had a feeling that I'm conflating something terribly, and okay, so I have to take a peek at it. I haven't played Arc Raiders still. I don't have lately a lot of time for gaming, so I played a little bit of Altas at the beginning of the year. Now I'm playing a little bit of Slay the Spire, but I haven't played Arc Raiders yet. I really want to because it seems like the kind of game that I could really get into. I need to write down in my notebook to take a peek at this, because this also might be, a future stream. And NVRTX do not have DDGI, it has RTGI and is more focused on path tracing. Even I knew that the moment I said the sentence, I was like, wait, I'm fucking it up. Do you also have it sometimes when you said the sentence and you immediately know, like, wait, no, I'm conflating something, there's something wrong. What the fuck am I talking about? Yeah, I might take a peek at it because, you know, I like Lumen. In my day job we use Lumen, but to make it, how to say it the best, to force it to be performant on lower than extremely high specs, it took our tech artists and artists a lot of time to, you know, do things in such way, and I'm not even aware of half of the things that was being done to make room for Lumen performance, right? In the end, the game looks great, but I wish Lumen didn't take as much of a you know, frame time and GPU time. Dexterowski says, I didn't play it too. Yeah, I wish I could play it. Maybe I should. Nah, I'm not playing games on stream. I tried it once. No one gave a fuck about this, and I also realized I don't enjoy playing game on stream. I much rather enjoy, you know, using Unreal or developing than playing games. I don't know. It's like different brain or whatever. So I don't think I would play Arc Raiders here on stream. But I wish I could, you know, like play a little bit of it, because it's also one of those games. When I was watching videos about it, it's not like I could play it 20 minutes every 2 weeks and be satisfied. No, it's this kind of game that you have to kind of really get into it, right? All right, so we are blueprint subsystems, yeah. Registering agents with your manager. In order to become an agent, each instance of the sports car needs to register itself with the manager. See, this is why I don't like actor-based managers, because right now every single agent has to, at the beginning of the screen, if I see it correctly, right, find actors with that specific tag, do a for each loop, add agent. I think I have to buy the blueprint subsystem and just do it differently. Because with subsystem, instead of like searching for all the actors with a tag, I would just, you know, get the subsystem, and the subsystem would have a reference to the actor that it spawned, and I would just get it instead of like. For this, there will be only one manager, right? But if there were like hundreds of actors with specific tags, etc., it kills fucking performance and it's just annoying. Alright. Yeah, whatever. Dexterowski said, instead of buying BP subsystems, I would buy the cloud plan for 18 euros and let it do it. That's also a thing. That's also a thing. The only reason why I would want to buy the blueprint subsystem as a plugin is that I feel like it has been more battle tested. But I have to, you know, use cloud code more to be actually be able to like judge like whether I might do a better version of it with Claude or on par. But yeah, that's also a thought. Like I read like a blog post when people were saying, shit, plugin makers and middleware makers are in trouble because everyone can just vibe code their own stuff, which is like, I don't think it is. It might be as bad right now, but it might be in the future. It might be in the future. Still, you need to have some expertise, but with certain things, but it might be that bad in the future. I also saw, I think on Primogen stream, there was like this AI researcher, and he said, well, maybe programmers' future is being the manual reviewers of AI code. And I was like, ah, shit, that job would suck. Where the fuck? What the fuck? Why the fuck? Why am I not playing as a car? Why am I this? What's happening? What? Am I crazy? Why am I not driving as a car after restarting the engine? What the fuck is wrong with that? Did I change something about the game mode or something? I only created the AI manager and I haven't even placed it on the level and I'm already running into like some stupid ass problems. Alright, apparently I need to create game mode. I don't even know what the fuck I did to make the thing not work. Yeah, player controller. Why there is no... What the... Now I'm really deeply concerned. Why? What? What's going on? Something weird is happening right now with my editor, where it doesn't see the things from the template. Yeah, I see that it's null, and I want to, you know, put my own game mode that I just created. But there's something completely wrong here. Like, I cannot select in my game mode that I just created, which I thought there was a game mode here. But just, I cannot even select the pawn that they provided. Something got completely fucked up right now. And I'm sorry for that to anyone who's watching and is like, alright, come on guy, be faster. You have corrupted BPs from what I see. Did you compile project? I thought so, but wait, too unsafe. Vehicle basic template. Maybe let me restart the engine. Don't save any changes. The only thing that I did was reload the engine and created this freaking manager. That's it. Maybe let's load it this way. It still says that no, you don't have this. Okay, Visual Studio Compiler warnings aside. Learning agents referenced by learning agents view project does not contain learning agents module, but listed in. Uh-oh, I think there's another problem. That fucked up everything. Right now, I just started thinking about this. My project is named Learning Agents. The plugin is named Learning Agents. And I think it is kind of fucking up. Because Learning Agents U project will be both... Yeah, I think me naming the project Learning Agents might have fucked up everything. It might be having a little bit of setup problem. Let me quickly run to the U project once again. Blueprint corruption. Well, if anything, we will just create project anew. That's not a big problem. It will take like 2 minutes. Yeah, but immediately game mode override. Nothing in here. Things got a little bit fucked up once I turned on the plugin. Great. Alright. Rule number 1 that I haven't thought of ever. That if you are making a project that is testing a specific plugin, don't name it after that plugin because probably things got fucked up because of that. Wouldn't you know? Let's learn the... What the? And now Epic Games Launcher cannot start? Thank you. I just wanted to put it here. Launch the engine and create a new project. Sorry for that, guys. I wasn't aware that that might be a problem. I saw the blueprint icons, which usually tells you that the blueprint is created based on class which is not existent. Yeah, and that I missed that, but it would kind of follow because probably I don't know why though, but for example, the project file might be listing learning agents, and it's the name of the project, so it there might be a safeguard that it stops loading the whole plugin and maybe other things. I don't know, but we'll start with the fresh project. Quickly, new project, vehicle, variant, I don't know, none or all, time trial, none. Let's go to learning agents vehicle. That might be a tad bit better. C++ version or not? Fuck it. Yeah, so just turning on the plugin that has the exact same name of the project that I named it might have corrupted everything. If that's the case, then it is kind of funny to me. I'm deeply sorry for that. We'll quickly retrace our steps. God damn, there's always something, right? There's always something. At the day job, it's the same goddamn thing. And I'm sure you guys experiencing it at the same time that sometimes you're like, all right, I got some time to myself. Let me do some development. And bang, 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 three stupid problem that you didn't anticipate that they would show up there. And you cannot even get to the, the main course that you're trying to eat right now because you have to go through all those hoops. Alright, we got the level vehicle basic. We will turn on once again the project. Game mode override is BP vehicle advanced game mode. We are clicking play. It works. Amazing, right? We are going into plugins. What the? Yep. Restart. We're restarting. Or there also might be a case that the whole plugin is broken. And but I haven't even I just created a new actor and added a component. Would adding a component for a broken plugin destroy the whole project? Never had that, but nothing is impossible. Dexterovsky, I got another question about the Claude code. Did you only use it for C++ things, or did you also ask it to, like, I don't know, it cannot generate blueprints, but maybe it can, like, create a graphical representation of what you should do with blueprints or with, like, materials or, like, something other than C++ code? Yeah, it is installing Python dependencies. Oh my god, it's been such a long time since I used Python. Such a long fucking time. I don't remember when was the last time when I wrote a single Python script. It might have been at university. And you know that you can extend the editor workflow, especially headless editor, and do like some stuff for builders with Python. Never really explored that. Might in the future, but we'll see. Dexterovsky says, for now only C++, but I wanted visual representation of some system. It was designed and it gave me stunning graph. Oh, really? I wonder how it looked like. I didn't know that it could create graphics, actually. About Dexterski says, about your project corruption. My guess is that you created a CPP project, didn't compile it, which is necessary, and it broke. That might also be the case. That might also be the case, but also the uh, output kinda was weird because it was saying like, hey, the project module was not loaded in, and that's where I saw that the learning agents.u project, learning agents.u plugin were the same, and it seemed to me like it was conflating one with the other because for sure the module should be loaded in for the whole project. So that's why I decided let's start with the new, project, because maybe naming plugins and the projects the same exact way might not be the greatest fucking thing ever. I know that in theory it should work, but there's a reason why we do not have the same name files. In the same directories, etc., because shit might get, messed up. All right. Do I still have game mode? I do have game mode. And I think I can always generate the project, right? I forgot how you do this, really. If I need to take a look into the code, I think there was something. Oh yeah, I had to just go into my file explorer, and that's where I can generate Visual Studio project files. All right, so if I want to take a peek into C++ code, which I'm not sure if I will be, judging on those blueprints, that's when I will generate the code. All right, so just to get quickly up to speed, new folder, agents, let's call it. Fuck it. Let's recreate the actor. It will be BP learning agent manager, right? And it was supposed to have the learning agent manager tag, right? And learning agent manager. It can replicate. Why? Also save on compile on success only. And let me quickly turn on the demo mode. Right, great. Yeah, and what is required next? Oh yeah, we need to search for that actor. I was rambling about subsystem. I won't be repeating myself, but we need to call add agent to it. All right, and print string. I wonder if we just do that. Does that work with their plugins? With their tutorials? Vehicles, sports car. Oh, that's not where the blueprint is. All right, open this up. Show me the default phone class. Open it up. Oh, actually, you can. That's nice. I hate the color of comment. I prefer black. Reads better. And what is happening here? The gameplay. Get all actors with tag. Learning agent manager. For each loop. Did you guys lost me for a second on the stream? Oh, okay, so I am still online. Thank God that Restream has this basic reconnection thingy, because sometimes my router, and I think every router that I had, is kind of performing this quick reset every now and then, and it always happens in the worst moment, right? Tell me, is everything alright? Like, can you hear me? Can you see the stream and everything? Because I was clicking, talking, and only I realized looking down at my second mobile monitor that there was no stream, and I got scared. Okay, okay, you can hear me. Okay, so I don't know if when was the moment when it lost me, but I basically recreated this, copied really, their blueprint, so the pawn can register with the learning manager, and I cannot get over manager being hand placed on the level. If I was using it for the shippable project, for sure I would be doing subsystem, and it would be spawning the manager and create like the whole API to get and add agents, etc., etc. I'm not sure why it's not there, but whatever. Can I hide those things? No. Blah blah blah. Yeah, we are adding agent logging. Whenever an agent is added or removed from the manager, a message will be emitted to log learning. If we play the lever. Okay, so learning agents have their own log category. Alright, so it means I should place and I should see the output log learning. Yeah, there it is. Also, there's a nice filter, category filters, where you can turn off everything, then put in log learning, your own motherfucking UX. Log learn. You know what I'm saying. And of course, there's our regular output log here, which. Oh, actually, wait a second. In 5.6, this category filter works a little bit different. Yeah, but you can log out, filter out to see only your own log, etc. Okay, so learning the manager got in. Let's go over the next step, because I really want to start actually doing something with neural network, right? Okay. At this point, we have our manager placed, blah, blah, blah. Much of the functionality of the manager comes from manager listeners. These objects extend the manager to allow it to do various tasks, such as gathering observation, performing actions, training, and recording data to files. In this section, we are going to look at three components: the interactor, the policy, and the trainer. Ooh. Learning agents interactor. The interactor is responsible for defining how the manager agents interact with the world. Okay, so this is like it's the way it interacts with the world, right? And the through observations and actions. All agents for a given manager share a common schema for observation. The interactor has four main functions: specified agent observation. All right, so we can specify. Okay, observation action, and then gather this observation and perform action, right? In the content drawer, right click, making a blueprint class, and it will be deriving from learning agents interactor as its parent class, and BP sports car interactor. All right, and we'll read through all of that in a second. Let's just create that. This was supposed to be no all classes interactor. Learning agents interactor. That's what it's supposed to be. Right? And learning agents come with many predefined observation objects, which allow us to strongly allow us to add strongly typed data which will be used as inputs to our neural network. Okay, so this is the thing that translates whatever the fuck is happening in our games to and sending this data, and it can be strongly typed, to our neural network so it can learn how to adjust its weights to it, right? It is simple to add observation for position, velocities, and variety of other game states. In addition to the primary data being observed, the observation objects often take in additional optional parameters in order to transform the primary observation into ego-centric reference frame. So there's like a global world coordinates, offset coordinates. Okay, so it can actually translate whatever the fuck is happening in the world space to its own space, and it can adjust it regardless where the bot is. That's smart. Yeah, it's great for generalization. Yeah, so it means that basically, we can have a test level when we are training our bots on a very specific cases, and then we can drop it in our actual levels, and it should be able to translate those spatial observations that were done in a specific level in the specific global world coordinates to egocentric coordinates and generalize it better so it will work on any level, right? That's basically the key here. And they are explaining everything here, like that you can train on one map, it will translate to the other, because if it wasn't like that, you would have to train agent on every single map, which would be laborious tasks, very expensive, and not needed. And this is how it is implemented. Specify agent observation, in observation schema, specify location observation, out observation element schema. This is like a location being specified, and here's the example of gathering, which like gets agent in observation object, agent ID, get agent, get transform location, make location observation. You are putting the relative transform of the agent itself, so the bot right here, the location of goal, so whatever this green X is. I am not sure what location scale means yet, but it creates the observation and it will be remembered as relative to the bot instead of the world 00, right? Object, the observation that we are populating with data, location scale. This normalizes the location data. Okay. The scale is used to normalize data prior to feeding the neural network. Unreal's coordinate system is in centimeters, so you typically need to increase the scale in order to fit the inputs into a roughly -1 range. Okay. So it's data preparation, so neural networks can actually eat it, right? We can get the agent object calling by get agent function. If we supply the appropriate agent class, the output will automatically be cast to the appropriate type. Okay. So this is a little write-up about observations and how to specify them and gather the observation. Great. Then I guess we have to create a spline, and then we will be creating our own observations, right? Oh my god, a lot of work from what I can see, but okay. That's what is needed here. We are preparing the test ground for the bots to learn. So are they saying anything specific? Spline observations to make it simple. Unfortunately, the existing track is expressed as a landscape spline, while we need a regular spline component. To remedy this, we can play the regular spline on the map and have it roughly conform to the shape of the track. In the content drawer, creating a blueprint class. Okay, so we need to create a blueprint class with the spline, add draw debug and make it closed loop, and just work with splines to create a spline, I guess, which will be used by agents. There's no spline made ready here, right? Nope, there's only landscape spline actor, as they said. Alright. Ain't the problem. Oh my god. And yeah. Actor BP race truck spline. I forgot how they named it. It doesn't matter really. We just really need the spline component. Closed loop. Yeah. Does that. Let's drop it here. Rotate it a bit. Right? And actually this might be a good idea to use the top-down perspective. I don't really work with top-down that much. But why the hell not? And okay, it might take a second. Thankfully, this racetrack is not as hardcore as the one in the documentation, so that's great. And it also doesn't need to be perfect, right? Shit. That's what I don't like about the splines, that I can easily misclick it and racetrack spline. Alright, and this. I don't want to produce too many spline points. Maybe I should actually. Does it have to be perfect? I don't think so, but probably it will help the agents to make it sane, right? If you are hearing police sirens, probably something is fucking happening once again in the neighborhood. What is that? Oh. Oh, okay. I think it might be one of the rare times when I actually do work with any of the top-down perspective. Do you guys work in such top-down or any other non-typical perspective? Or maybe it is typical and I'm the, guy that just doesn't know any better. Alright. It's such a laborious work, but we, I think, got it. Kinda, sorta, whatever. We can add another spline in here. And I think I will call it a day because yeah, I think this is the most I can do. And here, let me save it. Dexterowski says, honestly, I was hyped about fixing by Epic 2D viewports, but I don't really use it for now. That's the reason I updated project to 5.7. Ah, okay. Yeah, I remember the clipping, right, feature. We talked about that. We even shared some screenshots, if I remember correctly, that we were like, oh, damn, this could be cool. And I forgot about it, and I never really used it. So it was like, okay. Okay, so we got our spline going on. And what else? Sports car interactor. we got sports car interactor open, right? And we need to override which function? Specify object agent observation. Specify agent observation, right? All right, we got this. We got. Yeah, let's copy it and see what the hell is going on. Okay, that is going on. All right. That is going on, and let's see. I don't know. It is easier to read for me here, and I still haven't bought the electric links and the Node Pretty Fire plugin. I want to, but it's like, goddamn. Every month I'm like, do I need this month and spend money on that? No, not really. I got other things that require my money. Okay, okay. So what is happening here? In observation schema, no such thing exists right now. Ah, it's that. Wait, you can do a reference to the... There's something new, guys, that I haven't seen. I didn't even know that you can do this kind of thing. That you have a function as an input and you don't have to drag this input everywhere. You can just put it like this. How does it work? Whoa, I wasn't aware that it works like this. How can I make this? And it's object reference. It always works like that with object references? Damn. That's how you know that I'm more of a C++ programmer than Blueprint guy, because I didn't know that you can do something like this and it shows this function thingy. I always was dragging those things along the fucking functions. That's why I also didn't really like using functions, because I had those links constantly going, or I had to create variables to save whatever the fucking parameter is in here. And it turns out, no, I can just read it somehow that way. That's how you know that I'm a C++ guy. Dexterovsky says, oh really? I didn't know either. Yeah, exactly, right? If nothing out of those learning agents come true, at least I learned that. Okay, so what is happening here? Specify location along spline observation. Okay, location scale to normalize because it's in centimeters, so we are multiplying it by 100, I guess. Direction along spline observation. It searches for this tag. I don't have this tag anywhere, so okay. It makes a map of location, map of names, location and a value, direction and a value, and specifies struct observation and takes this observation schema, and if I understand it correctly, it creates, yeah, let's expand all of those. It creates this map that will go into the schema of observation, right? And then it makes another map. This schema element structure is being placed as a value to a map of a track, and the car has velocity scale, velocity observation. Okay. And once again, it's observation schema, and we are adding another like element struct observation. What? It is a little bit noisy to me, if I may be honest, looking at it, because it makes like a map which saves like a location and direction tag and saves it to the elements map, right, with the specific tag. But then this whole thing is also a value in another map that is also added to the same exact elements. It is kind of crazy for me. Okay, and that's how observation schema element is being created. Okay, so you kinda, if I understand it correctly, you don't create a specific data asset that defines the schema for observation. You kind of make it on the fly. In that way. Alright. Not sure yet if I like it or not. We would like the agent to know the location of nearest point on the spline and the direction of the spline at the spine. We can specify location along the spline. Observation and specify direction for remembering this. To combine this data, we can use specify struct observation, which under the hood will concatenate these subs of observations together. Okay, so it always maps those two together. We can repeat this process necessary, and here we combine the track observations with the car velocity. Okay. Next, create a new variable by clicking and line component, object reference. All right. Line component, object reference, and let me guess, we'll be fucking finding it live on the map through finding an actor, right? And now we need to override gather agent observation. Okay. Override gather agent observation or observations? Observation. Okay, observation singular. Alright. Let's just copy it because I cannot read it like this. And let's just hook everything as it's supposed to be, so if I understand that this should be here. This should be sport. This. And it should go here. This we can delete. And I think it is exactly how they set it up, right? Yep. All right, let's look through that. So here we were specifying what is the observation that the learning agent will make, which is like, hey, the location on the spline, the direction on the spline, and all of that will be bundled together and saved as the track that will be remembered and the velocity of the car, right? So those are the things that will be observed. And now we are making, we did copied from the tutorial how it gathers the observation, right? So the agent that it is getting, so the observing agent is our pawn, right? And I'm wondering, does it work only on object references in that way, or can I refer to agent ID like this? I can. Wow, it does. It does. Oh. No. It doesn't compile. For a lot of reasons. Alright. What are the reasons? Let's make it compile. Cannot connect means return value and OBS actor. Yes, because there is no such freaking thing as this. Variables, OBS actor. And it's just a actor. Okay, refresh node. We cleared some of that, but still we need to do refresh. Okay, so it will break everything. Alright, might as well just do that. It will automatically refresh everything. And I think we fixed compilation of the blueprint, yeah. Alright. Is it like... is it... it doesn't show it like this. Alright. Okay, I wanna study a little bit how it gathers the observation. So it gets the observing actor, which makes sense. Then it takes the actor location, takes the found track spline, which I don't think I created any finding for yet. There is nothing that they even grab that finds it, so I'm not sure how it is getting the track spline reference, but we'll leave it for now. So it gets the distance along the spline at location, the world coordinates, right? This is distance along the spline. But this function is provided by Epic, which means that they thought about, training AIs on the spline, which means probably if we need to make your own custom observation, let's say you have an RPG and you're trying to observe specific spell or I don't know, any other like non-typical character moving in the world that you want to train, you probably have to write your own functions in C++ or Blueprint and do a little bit more work. I'm quite sure that I will be doing something like that, not on this stream, but in the future for my own game. So we might, dig deeper into this, right? At some point, because I really want to use that. It might be the key advantage to like balancing things, finding errors things, finding blockers, etc., etc. So it creates an observation along the spline component. Great. Oh, and I wanted to see. This is the biggest game changer to me, that I can right now reference all those function parameters kind of as if they were variables here, instead of creating variables, wasting fucking memory for that. Even though I always created it as references, etc. So it should be only, small amount of, it shouldn't be a copy, right, of an object, but still it was annoying as fuck to do this in Blueprint. This is nice. I don't know, maybe it has been here even since Unreal Engine 4 and I'm just not an experienced Blueprint programmer, but it's bringing it closer to parity with C++. So I like it. Have you guys tried the verse in Unreal Edition for Fortnite? Because it seems like that's what will be the new thing in Unreal Engine 6 that might replace blueprints. And I never tried it. I don't think I will in Unreal Edition for Fortnite, but I'm curious if anyone tried it and liked it or not. Is it maybe better than blueprints? Probably for C++ coders it is better, because writing like a text script is always more closer to what we are accustomed to than, node-based, visual node-based language, but that's just an assumption, right? A conjecture. Okay, so it's making the observation along the spline. How far along the spline are we? And this is our location, and which direction on the spline we are going, right? And that's one observation that we are making, and the other is what is the velocity of my actor? The relative transform, the velocity, the tag is already added here, visual logger enabled, that's nice. Oh, we'll be using visual logger. I haven't had a chance to use it in a stream yet, I think. So that's nice. I wonder if when I make this function make direction along spline observation, if it is automatically fit with, with the tags and visual logger. Okay. It's semi-filled. All right. So it makes the observation of the velocity of the car and how far along the spline we are. Kind of understandable right now. And actions in learning agents follow similar pattern to observation. We have to specify agent action to implement, and that declares the action that the agent can perform and then how it performs. So kinda as if you were making an ability, defining the ability, and then actually using the ability, right? Kinda something like this. For simplicity's sake, we will set up two actions: throttle braking and steering. Alright. Specified agent action. We need to override specify agent action. We'll be creating probably what I guess will be two definitions of actions: the throttling, braking, so related to speed and steering, right? Let's copy and analyze that. Yup, it creates on the fly in the schema, which has a steering. And it's a float action. Oh, okay. So that's nice because, for example, if you had like a game, strategy game or whatever, and you're dealing with just like decisions based on floats, ints, etc. I wonder if there's like a specify int action. No, there's no integer action. Holy shit. Null action, leader observation. What? What the? Float action, but you can always turn integer into float. And enum action, encoding. Whoa, 1D boolean action, array action, angle action, lots of things that you can observe. Static array, transform. That's great. That's actually great because it seems like you can really create actions, specify them, and perform them. Your agents could do a lot for your game. Man, oh man. I like that. So there's like a float action that, you know, is connected to steering value and throttling, right? Throttle brake, and it's being saved. Scotty TV is here. Hi! What is agents? Learning agents? Well, basically these are like bots in Unreal Engine 5 that you can train. And then they can perform the actions that you trained them to in your game, which I'm really interested in because it seems like I could use it for example, bots that would be auto QAing the game and finding like blockers in the level, or they might be finding like balancing issues. There could also be like a part of where's the laser? Part of state tree or blueprint, right? So that's nice. As I said, auto QA, balancing issues you can find out, or for example, like in Left 4 Dead 2, you could have like this artificial dungeon master, and you could train it to do that, right? Like, kinda sky's the limit depending on what is there. Scotty TV asks, is this built in? Yes, this is a plugin in Unreal Engine 5. Let me switch the tab. Here is the documentation to it. This is built in. You can just turn it on as a plugin in Unreal Engine. Let me quickly show you. Plugins, type in learning. You have learning agents. Of course, it is marked as experimental. But I'm exploring it because I might use it for the project that I'm working on. And it just seems exciting that I could train bots to, for example, run around the level or play the game and, for example, find potential blockers or balancing issues or whatever, right? I'm not sure yet, you know, what's the limit in here. It seems like... Sorry for that. Seems like my own creativity will be the limit and the amount of time I can spend on training the agents, right? Etc, etc. It's not generative AI, let's not conflate that, right? It is the old regular network that you are training via reinforcement or imitation, and it just, you know, performs action on the level, right? Scotty TV says, didn't know about it. Yeah, that's like, I don't know, like, for some reason this plugin is not being talked about that much. I'm not sure if it is in active development, but at least the documentation is for the Unreal version 5.5. So it's not that far behind. Maybe they didn't do any update for 5.7, but hey, it's not the Unreal Engine 4 plugin that was abandoned, but still in the files, right? And I'm kind of exploring it. I also Googled it and trying to find like whether someone covered it in like a big way, and not really. And I'm just trying to see, you know, just based on their tutorial and documentation, how hard it is to set up. And for sure, I want to use it in my project. So, you know, right now I'm going with what they are doing, but I want to use it in the future on my own stuff, right? Might be cool, or we might find out the reason why no one is really talking about this and why it's not being promoted, right? We'll see. We'll see. Right now I'm in the phase of like going through tutorial and overriding specific functions that are needed to specify what observation such agent can make, right? And learn from this observation and what action it can take, kind of like what ability it has, right? To perform. And it is based on schemas that are kind of being defined on the fly. For example, because they are using the vehicle template as a baseline. So for example, the observations that can be specified is we had to place like a spline on the racetrack, and it can observe how far along on the spline we are and what's the direction and what is the velocity of the car, right? And then we have to define how it gathers those observations. So for example, they already provided like some functions that are able to make an observation on how far along the spline are we, what is the direction, and what is the car velocity, right? And through those observations it can learn how to adjust the car velocity, etc., to stay on spline. And then right now we are specifying, you know, what the action the agent can take, which is like steering and speeding up or braking. And the next thing I believe will be the definition of the how to perform this agent action. So let's go with that. Perform action or actions? Actions, plural. No, action, singular action. But there is like a way to do a couple of actions in a one go. Okay, okay. Let's see that. Okay, and how is that connected? Perform agent goes to access attack. Okay, so it goes to here. Return node we are deleting. And oh, there's no return node connect. Okay. So it can be here. We have to click promote to variable. Acting actor, if I understand it correctly. Compile it, probably it will break, right? And the agent class here is our sports car. It is a pawn, our pawn. It is that pawn. Oh, we need to connect this, right? There's still an error. Eh? Really? Okay. It has to be of that class. Okay, BP vehicle advanced sports car. It is that one, and object reference, and it's still not. What is going on? In class, and should go in here. Or do we have any other Oh yeah. We have other broken plugins things. So we need to fix that. It's not car object reference not compatible with the object reference. Valid pin from act actor, but why? This is BP vehicle advanced sports car object reference, and this is BP vehicle advanced sports car actor. Why do you think it's not right? I kinda don't get it. BP vehicle advanced sports car object reference, and it okay. I can also go like this, and I can go like promote to variable actor, and it should fix it or not. I have to go by hand. That also is possible. Yeah, I had to go by hand. Alright. Not a problem. Can I just click refresh note on that? No. God damn it. And okay, we fixed those references, and let's quickly study what performing agent action means. It's getting the specific pawn on map, right? Then it parsed through our struct action that we kind of defined here, right? In action object, which is this, in action object element, which is this, and then we are going in sequence, and we are okay, we are taking our steering and setting the steering input kind of as if it was, you know, the same function is being called by input, right? The set steering input the moment we press input. So it's kind of like those agents are going through the exact same API that we do when we are hooking up controller, right? And then we have another floating action that is throttle brake. And if the value is bigger, then we are setting the throttle input and brake input is 0 and vice versa. Brake input and okay, it's kind of understood. We are just using the movement component API for vehicle to take whatever the neural network is outputting, right? And translating that into inputs of the movement component, which is powerful because it means that we could train it to whatever our pawns are doing. And if I understood it in the documentation, those things don't have to be pawns. It can also be anything that derives from your object, right? So it could be subsystems, it could be whatever. And it will just feed out the values that you have for the API. So you don't have to create like a API that is very specific to the agent unless your logic really dictates that it should be like that. That's nice, that's nice. Sorry for that, allergy is still running rampant in Poland. Alright, that is interesting. Alright, learning agents training environment. The training environment contains the training code needed for reinforcement learning. For example, the reward function and the completion function are found here. Learning agents allows other forms of training such as imitation learning, which we will not cover in this tutorial. But there's another tutorial for that. I really want to dig into imitation training. I hope, you know, we'll do this during this stream, because that's the one that I'm looking most forward to, where I could play the game first amount of times and neural network can learn from that, and then it can, you know, train more on its own, right? It feels like a more speed up process. And we need to create another actor and training environment that we have to place on the level, I guess. Like, let's create the training environment blueprint. Return to the content drawer and create the blueprint customer to before, but this time pick learning agents training environment as its parents class and give it a name, blah blah, and then open. Will I have to create like another text line? What? Okay. So learning agents training environment. Learning agents training environment. Alright. We can name it like that, and we probably, yeah, and we need to add spline component from what they said. Right? There are no components? Wait, what? Then how the fuck? Then you've a variable, okay. Tracks line. And it should be spline component object reference. Okay, spline component, and it's an object reference. Alright. We did this. Rewards. Rewards are the feedback mechanism that which will inform our agents if its actions are good or bad, right? Yeah. That's what is being used to train. When a positive reward is received, the action will become more likely for the agent to take in the future. When a negative reward is received, the action will become less likely to be performed in the future. By adjusting these action probabilities, our driving action is learning, basically. We need to override gather agent reward. Okay, let's override it. Blah 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 blah. Gather agent reward. And there's rewards, so we can probably do multiple of those, right? Okay. Once again, let's copy it. That's the only way I can actually go about it. Delete that. Or we can go with the new way and just type in agent ID. Yeah, let's do this new shit. Everything is broken. Yay. Promote to variable. Keyboard actor. Or it should be keyboard actor. And can I just refresh it? Yeah, I can. Let's just refresh everything. Reconnect it. Wait, what? Wait, why this object? Oh, I haven't specified. It should be BP Sport. Sorry, BP Vehicle Advanced Sports Car. I fucked it up. Let's delete that. Promote variable. What was the name? Reward actor, yes. Reward actor, right? Bong bong, and yep. That's why it couldn't. Yeah, I didn't specify the agent class in here. That's why the return value was just of a object, and it created a reference to a object, and that's why it couldn't use the actor API, right? All right. So what is this doing? Agent reward. It's getting our pawn. This is reward actor, and make reward from velocity along the spline. Oh, this is also like a function defined by them, which takes location velocity, reward scale, finite different data, make reward on location difference above the threshold. We're taking our actor location and location closest on the spline and the difference between it, and the closer in difference we are, and more velocity. And if our velocity is as such that if our difference from the spline and velocity for potentially staying on the spline is, correct, then we will have a big reward. If it is completely, wrong, then the reward will be negative, if I understand that correctly. Also sounds really simple. You're combining reward from velocity and from the location, creating one big reward, and this is what will be feed to the neural network. Episodes. With reinforcement learning, training will occur over many episodes. An episode in a sequence of observations, actions, and rewards from the beginning of play until the end of play. In addition to normal game ending conditions, completing the race, it's common to speed up the training by adding additional logic to end training early if the agents have gotten either into a bad state where no meaningful learning can occur, or a good state where no further rewards are available. So we trained our neural network and it is either so great that we hit the plateau and we cannot improve it without further changes, or it completely derailed in such a way that no matter how much you train it more, you have to kill it. Okay. Completions are split into categories: terminations and truncations. Terminations are used for situations with no positive rewards, which is your learning agents become completely stupid. No positive. Oh no, actually, terminations are used for a situation where no further positive rewards are possible. It is assumed the agents received a zero reward for all future steps. Truncations are used in situations where we want to end the episode early, but where the agents would have continued to receive more rewards, either positive or negative. Okay. When truncation occurs, the agent will use its internal estimation of expected rewards to predict the final cumulative sum of rewards, aka the return. So one is like a regular termination, it's like, hey, nothing will happen here, there's no more learning, and truncation is like, okay, we are ending prematurely even though we could still learn. Okay. And we need to gather agent completion. Alright. And once again, there's a plural version of that. And then there's, oh my god, there's so much setup before we can even start running this shit. It is so involved. Oh my god. Alright, I guess we have to kinda speed it up. But I also need like a quick 5-minute break because my brain is a little bit fried right now. So I need a quick snack and I'll be back in like 5 minutes. So I'll be back in a couple of minutes, and we will try to get through the setup so we can actually start training our agents on this stream. But it's a lot of setup. A lot of setup. So I'll be back in a couple of minutes. All right, I'm back. Ugh. My brain is a little bit fried, but let's get through it, right? Okay, so what did we do? We did nothing. We gather agent completions, right? We are trying to define the completions of training. I don't know how to really explain this. The episodes, yes, the terminations, etc. So there will be training, and we are terminating it or we are truncating, right? And we need to define how that it works. If I would have to guess, we'll be detecting whether the car is off track, and we are either like truncating it or terminating it or whatever. So let's copy all of that. And truck spline we have. Once again, agent ID. And it is our BP vehicle. Advanced sports car. This is our pawn. Great. Should compile. And what is happening here? We are getting our agent. We are finding the location closest to the world location on the spline, right? And depending on the difference, oh, we are terminating it. We're not truncating it. We're like, no, you are 8 meters off the fucking spline. Terminate. No, don't do this shit. Why? When we detect that we are off track, we use the termination so that our agent does not try to estimate future rewards. The reason for this is that the car could have reasonably gotten back on track and then started to get positive rewards from its velocity reward. Then positive rewards would counteract and possibly overpower the negative penalty we are trying to give agent for leaving the track. This means that our agent will likely learn the correct behavior. Okay, so to put it into visual terms, quickly, it's kinda as, you know, we have our race car, let's have it in yellow, right? And racetrack, and our car is here and started moving towards here, right? And somehow it will, you know, eventually it will either get here on the track or it will randomly get here on the track, right? But it will be on a track and it will be starting getting pluses, pluses, pluses. Here negatives, right? And what might happen is that the neural network will be like, oh, so the movement of like, hey, let's get the fuck off the spline and then join here and then drive along the spline is correct one, and it will be reinforcing in its behavior that, hey, this was a good movement. Us, by truncating it and saying there will be no future rewards, terminates that this behavior shouldn't occur, right? Okay, that's nice. Okay, resetting the episode. Trainers have one additional responsibility, which is to reset the agents and their environment to the initial training conditions whenever an agent's completion has triggered. So when we terminate it, we have to put everything to restart. And for our example, we don't have to touch anything in the environment. For our car example, we don't have to touch anything in the environment. However, we would like to teleport the car to a random section of the track so that it can practice driving there. To accomplish this, we will implement a function on the pawn and then call it from reset agent episode function in the trainer. Open sports car. Okay, let's open the pawn and create a function reset to random point on spline. Okay, and that's where we'll be resetting to random point on spline. All right. So we are opening up our blueprint, creating a new function there. Call it reset to random point on spline. Let's copy this whole fragment because I cannot read on their webpage. If I understand it correctly, invalid transform blueprint. What? Create local create local variables from both candidate transform and invalid transform. All right. And another local variable, candidate transform. Where the fuck is this so I can, okay. It should compile on the first go. Nope. Of course, no. Could not find. I fucked up. Okay. It was supposed to be local variable. Okay, just not to break the whole blueprint. Once again, why the fuck am I doing this? That one I wanna delete. Oh my god. Alright, so those ones are almost correct. Quickly just do all of that, and I think and let's break the transform, split it. We have one more that is not right. We have another one that is not right. Oh my god, I hate like changing all of that. It's just so stupid that you have to click so much, but okay, whatever. That's true. Alright. I hope I didn't make any bigger mistakes during those copy and pastes, because then all of the reinforcement training will be problematic. Line. Okay. Track spline, and here we have spline, but we don't get the spline. Get all actors spline. This should be our PP. Wait. Okay. I hate this shit. Can I just refresh the node? I can't. Alright, there's only one missing link. What the fuck is the spine? There's no such variable. On the purple entry point node. And add new input parameter. Okay. Need to add new input. It should be spline. And if I have to guess it, it will be a spline component. Right. And it should be alright. Okay. Now I have to supplement this. Oh my god, this copy and pasting is not as fast as possible, but still faster than if I would have to type it out all by hand. All right, we still don't comply. Why? Oh, none of this should work. Okay, I have to do for each loop by hand once again. And then just do this, and the loop body should go here, and it should plan. Okay, and now it's compiling. All right, now we can go quickly through this. Reset random point on spline. What does it do? It's random float, some operations on it, making a vector of it. Get location and distance along the spline, random float. Yeah, rotating it correctly. And this is our candidate transform. That's the thing that I don't get. In the pawn, I'm looking for other pawns. And if it is invalid, then it will take it. Try to see the distance. And okay, so we just want to make sure that it's not in the same place as the other agents are, right? And if we are completed the while loop, so it means the invalid transform will finally be all right. And default value should be true in here to make sure that works. We can delete that safely. All right, I think we have everything set correctly. That's where we can actually put our, after we made sure that the new transform that we chosen along the spline is not, you know, somewhere near the other agent, we can actually teleport our guy and that's it. Yeah, now we should go back to the training environment, and from what they are saying, we should implement reset agent, actually resetting agent episode and probably calling it, right? Yeah, get agent, so we can be like get agent. We can do this. There's BP, it was called vehicle. Lots of setup, but that's kind of to be expected for this type of deal. And reset. What was the name of the freaking thing that I created? Reset the random points on the line. And I think that is it. And we are adding track spline, if I have to guess. Yeah. Our trainer is now complete. It can provide feedback on each agent's action and reset their training whatever they drive of the track. Okay, great. Earlier we created manager that had the access. Register yourself now. We will return to the manager to complete the blueprint graph. The manager will utilize various components we just have created to compose the actual training logic. Begin play. We have to do something with the begin play. These make functions will internally call the specify function we created in the previous section of the tutorial. Great. Okay, so begin play. Oh my god, it's so fucking huge. Create some policy, make critic. Wow. Okay, we are copying it and then we'll go hand by hand to understand what's going on. Okay, so we are going into our learning agent manager, right? Ah, it was supposed to be sports car manager and I called it learning agent manager. Ah, fuck it. Let's delete all of those. Let's see what's going on in here. Because it looks huge. And first actor of class, this is the thing that gets lost. And here is our BPs. Our pawn. BP, vehicle, sports car, right? Okay. And we need to create a variable out of this. Car actors. Then sports car truck spline. Okay, so our spline actor, which I called in my game race track spline, right? And it should promote the variable. We will call it spline, right? To have the parity, then the interactor is sports car interactor. BP, oh, there's sports car interactor, variable, interactor, great. I hope it fucking works. And I wouldn't have to waste next 10 minutes to fix all the blueprint compiler errors. Now make policy should work right out of the gate. Learning agent policy, right? I should just create promote variable policy. None of that is set up that way. Run inference is here. Make critic doesn't look like it needs anything. Learning agent critic is selected. Oh, of course. Critic. And environment. Here is when we need to go to the class. Okay, this is our BP sports car training environment. Promote the variable training. And yep. Spawn shared memory. We don't have to select anything in here, although there is like some variables that are. I need to close the door. Oh my god, I guess there'll be lots of. Oh, we have to make a data asset and support get this data asset. Okay. We have some data assets to create, but there's like some process settings. Oh, I can just click like that? Wow! Oh my god, and I was wasting so much fucking time. Alright. Interactor I have. Training environment policy critic communicator is not here. So create this variable. Trainer setting is not here. Create variable. There's like some empty. Yeah, there's some empty and so run inference, create variable. Reset to random point line. Okay, reset to run. Okay. Can you call it? Wait, that's something weird. There's like no for each, it's just array to. Okay. There's lots of blueprint errors even though I was clicking through everything. Fuck. Why? Okay. Just need to go with refresh node, and hope no. Of course not. Um mm-hmm. I just refresh node in here. Refresh node in here and refresh node in here and go fix that. Nope. Hey Pumba, come here. Say hello. My cat is here. Came to me. Wah, wah, wah. You don't wanna be in my hands. Okay, okay. Just chill out here. Aww. And you're going straight from the cables? Well, sorry. Come on, man. Okay. We're in the clear. Let's just fix this error. Hi, Marmalade. Hey. My cat was here for a hot second. Wait, interactor. How are you doing, Marmalade? I'm kind of lost in the weeds here. It was like in spline. Wait, what is going on in here? I kind of don't get that thing. It is around the make interactor even higher. Okay, we have that. We are putting here file, and then that. This is something weird. Like we are taking a track spline to spline, spline to track spline. Like what the fuck is happening here? And the target. I don't get it. What's going on in here? I feel like I fucked up something. All right, and maybe let's rename it as they did, like track spline. Okay. Now it's like spline gets to the. I hate copying this shit. Marmalade says, I'm doing great, exploding my electrical box at home, so it's more than great. Holy shit, how are you exploding your electrical box at home? Did you set up like a lot of computers or something? Hey, Pumba. What is going on in here? Oh my god, interactor into track spline. Okay, let's make interactor. We are providing it. We are saving the interactor, and then whatever the fuck is happening in here, like that target, something like this. Like I don't understand this node really. Track spline is of what? Are they like On the next branch, we find that track spline actor and stir reference to its spline component and put it into a variable as well. What? Oh my god. My brain is kind of frying right now. Next branch, we find the track spline actor. We do have it. Ah, the whole actor. Okay, so this is an actor and this is the spline. It's all kinds of... And the spline is the actor. The naming convention in here is freaking crazy. Force card track. Okay, it's ray track, and we saved it as spline. And Marmalade says, "Yeah, I have like a home AI server. I finally got all the parts to plug in all the GPUs, and I bought it for." Oh, nice, nice. How many GPUs do you have? And yeah, I bet home AI server can completely fry out electrical bugs. I watched the PewDiePie video where he also almost fried his house trying to set up training of his own AI, and it can be crazy, right? Branch, we find the track spline actor and store a reference to its spline component. Okay, next we make the interactor with its class BP, and then store a reference to the interactor and set its track spline component. Ah, because the interactor has its track spline. Oh my freaking lord. And it's like our interactor get now spline set track spline, and oh my god, those naming conventions is completely freaking crazy, and it can throw you in the loop. "43 Marmalade answers. 43 RTX 3090 GPUs. Holy shit, where did you get that many? Where did you get that many? Nice. That is a lot. That is a lot. Damn, your electricity bills will, go high. Unless you are solar powered, then, it might be alright. Policy settings. Did I created something like policy settings? God damn, just copying that is... Okay. Same thing is in here. Dexterowski says, solar powered, he would use his own sun to power it. Well, I saw Spider-Man 2. So maybe they created. Barabash is here. If they can afford 43 RTX 3090, I don't think any electricity bill is a problem for them. Well, you are thinking about, they bought it. Marmalade, did you bought it or did you acquire it? Wink, wink. A critic setting. Oh my god, there's so much clicking through. I'm kind of hating it, but on the other hand, yeah. Refresh here, refresh here. Oh my god, I'm not sure if we'll get to like actually even training our freaking thing. And once again, training environment, spline, that track spline, and it will be this track spline. Oh my god, yeah, a lot of setup, but that you have to go through it. Marmalade says, I was buying them used before the NAND shortage, so each was like 500, 600 USD. So it was cheap way to get 1 terabyte of VRAM. Oh my god. Damn. So you were quite lucky to get it before the NAND shortage. Because now buying 43 GPUs, holy shit. I would have to take a loan for that. But others says they were just near the track when all of those cards fell out. Ah, okay. Nice, nice. And how is the training of your own AI going? And what are you using? Like, tell me about your setup. Also, did PewDiePie inspire you? Alright, we got those settings here. And refresh node. Oh my god, so much clicking of refresh node. That's the thing that I would love for be like to AI, to put it to AI and be like, fucking fix that for me. Can you? What is like your problem? What is your problem? Training and okay, didn't hook that up. Okay, and finally it works, but still at the end of it, I need to hook up this thing, reset to random, and I don't understand how that thing works. Like actors that I can just take and be like reset. No, I have to go like for each loop, right? And then I have to reset to random. What? Oh, the function isn't public? No, it is. It is public. You can reset the random point on spline. What is your freaking problem, car actors? My god. I feel like doing this in C++ would be way much faster. I also wonder, can I do like reset to? No, I can't. I knew I can't. I don't know what was that they copied over, but okay. Marmalade asks, what are we doing today? Well, I'm exploring the plugin for learning agents in Unreal Engine, which means basically training your own bots for the game. It's not generative AI or anything like this, nothing crazy. And Epic created this plugin some time ago, and I just wanted to see how you work with it, how do you set it up, etc. Is it good or not? It's not really being talked online about that much, and then maybe there's a reason. We might find it out. For sure, the setup is laborious, but for simple example, but I want to see it because in theory you could like train via reinforcement or imitation your neural network bots to play the game and for example to be a little bit of like auto QA, find the blockers, or they might help you balance the game, find the blockers in your balance, or possibly you could train your own virtual dungeon master, kind of like in Left 4 Dead 2, right? So there's lots of applications you could have for that. I'm really curious about this, and I clearly see that it might be a two-parter. I was hoping that we might get to imitation training this stream, but it seems like we won't. We are still in the setup of the first run of the training, and it should train for to get like good results, probably like 15 minutes. For great results, couple of hours. For the reinforcement, imitation should be easier, but I wanted to get point by point with that. Okay, make policy. We need to create like data asset for make policy, right? Okay, let's create the data asset. What data asset do they want? Data asset. Search for learning agents neural network. Okay. Create free neural network asset. Encoder, policy, decoder. Okay, let's try. Gameplay. Yeah, so I'm trying to set up the environment for learning agents so they could learn how to race cars around the environment. It might be a two-parter. Have you ever heard about this, Marmalade, in the Unreal or something? My brain is so fried right now from all this setup. I have to 4 times create those assets and their names. Should be sports car encoder. Because it's the same asset, let me just copy it and sports car policy and sports car decoder, right? Because they are all the same, right? If I understand that correctly. Decoder, right? I think those are the assets that the neural network will be writing to. Right, yes, this is the neural network data it will be writing to. So all the neural network weights, matrix basically, and we need to add, select it and make policy. So encoder is this, policy is that, decoder is this. All right. Marmalade says, yeah, but I never tried it, but I remember Epic talking about it on some event or stream. Alright, so you heard about it. Okay. Yeah, because some, I saw online that lots of people were surprised that such thing exists. It's not, I feel like it's not being promoted that much, but it seems like really cool thing for the game. It requires a lot of setup, as any neural network work really does. But it might be cool. Okay, then make critic. Do we need to have some with that shit? Make training environment. Okay. Do we make the training environment and start into variable? And during the training, the trainer will initially reset our cars to random points, but in inference time, we will hand it ourselves by passing the array of characters. Blah blah blah. That didn't work for me. Well, the initial setup is complete. Okay, now tick. Run inference. Run training. The manager, okay. So this was just a setup. Now here is the tick, right? That is not compiling, because why would it? Trainer training setting. No such variables. Create variable. Create variable. Great. Learning agents has a lot of flexibility once you dig into various listness APIs, but for this tutorial, we can use just run training convenience function. Under the hood, the function will call all the necessary manipulating code, observations, actions, etc. After each time run training is called, observations and action will be buffered until full episodes are collected. Finishing touches. At this point, all components. Oh my god, how many cars? Maybe we'll run at least one simulation. So much setup. So much freaking setup. Where's the cat? Oh, here's the cat. Can you see him? He's observing the monitor. Let me slightly make. I don't think you can see him. He's here. Here's Pumbaa. Hidden. And looking at the monitor, looking at me like, what the fuck is this guy doing? Why is he not petting me? I will be. Once the stream ends, you'll be petted like there's no tomorrow. You'll be pet. Oh my god, there's no petted. At this point, all the components necessary for reinforcement are in place. Yada yada. Adjust actor tick interval for the manager blueprint. Okay. second interval. I think it is in class default, right? 0.1 second. We don't want to take it every frame, possibly. Yeah. Components from the component panel and set max agent number 32. So we can train using multiple agents. 32. All right. Oh wait, those whole blueprint should be this, and learning agents should be 32, and then we can add references to agent, right? I cannot click anything in here. Training will be bottlenecked by the speed to collect of data environment. The easiest way to speed up the collection is to collect from more agents. Since we already have increased the maximum agents, we need to only place more driving agents on the map, navigate to sports card, and then place more on the map. Okay. Alright, I think we are nearing the thing. Now we need to spawn like 32 freaking race cars. Cat spotted. Yes, cat is here. My cat, Pumbaa. He is... How old is he actually? 8 months. 8 months British short hair. And he's so lovely. He's so lovely. God damn. He's so freaking lovely. Yeah. God damn. Balloon is getting in the way. Yeah, on Friday, young Tim had birthday, and we have balloons over the place. Alright, alright. Let's concentrate. Let's put our pawns on level, right? We need 32. Fucking hell. 32 of them. And why did it go underground? One, two. Why? First of all, let me turn off the camera preview because it's driving me nuts. Preview selected cameras, no. First of all. Second of all, okay, maybe let's move it a little bit up because maybe it's just physics. Yeah, it was physics collision. Okay, 4. Right, so now I can select it and we got 8. We can slightly rotate it. Now we got another 4, so 12. Slightly rotated. 16. 20. I have to count loudly, otherwise I'm making way too much errors. 20, 24. Marmalade, because Underground is the best NFL Need for Speed title. I agree. I love Underground the most. And we have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 24, 28. We're getting it there. And 32, although they said to delete one guy, right? Because one will be spawned automatically. So we got that many cars. For sure it will not fuck up. For sure. Right, place 31, and this final engine will automatically be spawned. will be the one that you watch. Okay, by default the cars will collide with one another. For simplicity, the collision should be disabled. To do so, and we should ignore other vehicles. All right. But I think we also need to turn this off for all of those. What the fuck? Where's the collision? Block all dynamic, yeah. Custom and vehicle. Ignore. Yeah, great. I think it should be like this. And also they are saying that in class defaults collision. Yeah. Everything is set up, alright. And did I miss anything that I should click? No. Set tick interval. Set vehicles training. Now at this point everything should be set up. Save everything so you don't lose any work. Yes, I don't want to lose it. Save all. Great. Hit play and let the agents train. Whenever you're satisfied with the training results, you can click stop play. The trained weights will be saved to the neural network assets that we created. The editor will mark assets as dirty, blah blah blah. You may want to set up tensor boards so you can monitor the training progress. You can see how in this tutorial. Oh, okay. So tensor. Training will take roughly 15 minutes. If you want to stop training and resume training later from the previously trained weights, you need to turn off the reinitialized. Okay. Do similarly with the reinitialized critic. So the policy in critic, we need to turn off the reinitialization. Makes sense to check the output log. Okay. All right. Let's see. The tensor board. Oh my god, no. Get back, get back. We might run the first like training. Training. I wanted to see the tensor board, how to set this up. Tensor board is a visualization tool for ML training. Tensor board enabling training settings. Okay. Install tensor board. Tensor board needs to be installed in the Python environment that ships in the Unreal editor. Okay, let's do this. Open Windows command prompt and navigate your no, I don't feel like doing this right now. I just want to see one training session happen. Let's see. It will break probably as usual, but I want to see where it will break, or it might crash my whole computer. Where's the cat? Infinite loop detected. Okay. Great. Thank you. So there we have infinite loop on our hands. And we somehow have to now avoid it. Infinite loop detected and reset agent episode. Reset to random point on spline. So that's how it goes. Reset agent episode. Alright. Ah, okay, I see it. So it is telling us that we have infinite loop and it starts reset agent episode in environment. Here there's reset agent episode that is being called and it calls reset random point on spline. And we also have in our pawn reset. Wait, what? It doesn't make sense. Wait a sec. A specific branch while executing loop body, so thank you. But I'm not calling any reset here. Ah, because we are using while loop and it thinks that. Oh yeah, that is actually true. We are never setting it to so it can escape the while loop. So it detected the infinite loop correctly. Let's see if this is an error in tutorial, which might happen, of course. Or did I... It was where? Here, and when we're doing the reset. Here are the reward. This was the reset, right? Candidate transform. Here it is when we're setting it to false. Oh! It was my error. My error. Now it should work. There should no be an infinite loop. We'll see. No! Infinite loop still detected. And it is still in this function. Still, we never escape this infinite while loop. Alright, we need to fix that. And it is telling us that output show. Yeah, reset random point on spline. And the assign call, blah blah blah. Yeah, it goes into infinite loop. We fucked something up in this reset random point on spline. Let's go hand by hand, shall we? In here. Or node by node, I should say. Invalid transform, we are setting candidate transform, then we're setting invalid transform to false. We are getting all actors of class, and if we are negating invalid transform, blah blah blah. And at the end, we copy it exactly as they do it. So it seems either the infinite loop detection is too hardcore, or there actually is an infinite loop, because the way it works for Blueprint is that it sometimes detects like a specific amount of iterations, and if it is being hit, it decides no, it is an infinite loop. We will not get out of here, right? And sometimes it can be overzealous. I remember at the day job being like, no, there's no infinite loop, and I'm sure of it. It's just the infinite loop detection is set to, how to say it, is this too sensitive, and I had to like create a script around that so it would think that, oh, there is no infinite loop in here, and then it would work, and actually there wasn't. But here actually it might be, because let's see, invalid transform, right, as we said, it starts as true that hey, we have invalid transform when we are resetting. We are selecting some candidate transform, right, somewhere along the spline, xy vector z. We are getting our spline. Get location distance along the spline. We are getting a specific distance. Right, and we are setting it as our candidate transform. We are setting our invalid transform as false, that it is no longer invalid, so it should be jumping out of the while loop, right? And then we are doing for each loop. Because we set it to false, it will be double false, it will be true, and it will try to see a detection like, hey, our pawn, right? So let's see if our new is like, oh, it will never be true from the get-go because it is like, what, 15 meters, and our cars are set up in such a way that they are like meters apart, not 1500 meters. So I would say, I don't know, if they are not in exactly the same place, that's where wait, if the distance between them is smaller than this, then it is invalid transform and we should find again. So if it is less than 15 meters, but will always be that. Yeah, let's save it to 1 and I think it will be work. Marmalade says you can adjust how many times it is allowed to loop in the project settings, I think. Yeah, that is also true, right? That is also true. I think it is infinite all settings, infinite or while loop, maximum loop iteration count. Yes, it is a lot. So if the detection hit it, it means that okay, it iterated this amount of time, right? Which shouldn't really happen for this, but as I saw, when it is trying to find the new location along the spline, if it is closer to any other car than 15 meters, then it will try to select a new one. But our cars are so close together, and they don't have collisions between themselves, it shouldn't really be a problem, right? So we can set it like, hey, if it is closer than 1 meter, so they are really in the exact same place almost, that's when we can draw a new detection. Now it should work. Yup. And we can observe our agents training. Yes! First training. It looks extremely fucking funny. They are learning. Maybe I will install Tensor in a second. I just wanted to really see it. They got out of bounds and now they are training. Do I have to possess it to... No, I can just observe them learning. Yes, my minions. My minions. Learn how to drive. They do the thinking now. Yes, now I can be stupid and they will be smart. No, but in reality, you know, I know that you can also run it headless without the editor on a build machine. So in theory, if you have build machines, you can just, you know, do the setup, make sure that the setup is correct and be like, all right, train overnight. Or if you have really like, because right now we are only doing 2 things for those cars. Steering input and throttling braking, right? So speed up, speed down. These are the only things that we are doing with them. That is important. And the only thing that they are trying to do is try to go along the spline. Anything more involved would require more data inputs, more time to do, right? This is reinforcement training. For each moment where they are going outside of tracks, they are being punished. Each time when they are riding along the tracks, they are being rewarded. So that's how they are learning how to do this whole shit, right? But there is an imitation training, which gives you a heads up faster because I'm driving the car and they are learning. The weights are being set based on my learning, right? It takes my input and sets initial weights according to that, and then you can train it further. But the initial, like babies running around is gone, right? And then you can just refine it. And the imitation is the one that I really want to do, because it seems like for more involved gameplay, that's how you would do it. You would play the game in a specific way, and then, you know, let the computer Jesus, which is John Carmack, yeah, or Linus Torvaldi, I don't know. Let's not sidetrack. You know, you do the initial training by your own inputs, and then it can, you know, develop further. It speeds things up, although it involves human involvement. But for complicated games, I feel like it is a must. But yeah, right now, I don't think a single car finished a lap. Probably we could do like 64 cars, 128 cars to speed it up even faster. Dexterovsky asks, how much CPU or GPU time it takes? Well, in this tutorial they said that like 15 minutes is for like basic driving, and for it to be really good it's 2 hours or more, right? Which, you know, we won't be streaming 2 hours of just looking at that. Although, you know, it would be funny to like, hey, I'm training agents right now, and there's like a small windows when we could watch the agent training on a different computer, you know, like picture stream it, and then do other development in here. That is something to be thinking of, but I only have like a server Intel Nuke, which wouldn't run Unreal Engine 5. So the build machine has to be able to run headless server and do all those computations. So I would need to have another computer, which I have laptop. So this setup might be, you know, something to do. And let's actually, you know, turn on the old CPU. It's taking 22% of my CPU, right? I have Ryzen 9 7950X. And 71, 73, 70, around 70% of GPU. I'm not sure if those are actually, if those agents are driven through GPU. I don't have this implementation detail. Marmalade says, in real time it will be slow to do, but I think you can just set the timescale to faster value and it will take less time to see more good results. Use slow-mo 2 command to set the timescale to... Oh, let's try that. It actually might be... Oh, I clicked something. I wanted to go like here and type on slow-mo 2. They're driving kind of faster, but there's lots of warnings from what I can see. Could not use BPA. I'm not sure if they are learning correctly. There's log tick. Ah, yes, because I forced tick to be 0.1. I think slow-mo might not work at all with them. Yeah, they said that slow-mo, that tick should be to 0.1. I don't remember why. Let's take a peek at the documentation once again. But yes, we had to fix, so anyone who would be following this tutorial that Epic did, where was that moment? When we were setting up resetting. You will get into the infinite loop, and what you need to fix is... Where the fuck is it? Oh my god, implementing the manager. No, this is reset agent. Here. You'll be implementing reset to random point on spline, and here they gave a big hardcore value that will result in infinite loop. And which, if you set up 32 cars on the racetrack, you know, it will be too much. And because you turned off the collision for the cars anyway, you can just turn it to 1 centimeter and or 1 meter, 1 centimeter, and it will be fine, right? That's the one takeaway for that. And for the tick, let's get to the finishing touches, shall we? Tick tick, and from the manager blueprint, click and set tick interval to be 0.1. This will allow enough time to pass such that throttle, brake, and steering actions will have minimal impact on the game state. Ah, yes, the observation window. That's what it's all about. If it will be every frame, we might not be able to observe how the inputs that the neural network is putting to, you know, to the pawn, what effect it had, right? If it is in the same frame, we need to observe at least 2 frames, right? 1 frame when we are giving the input, the second frame when we are observing the effect of the input, right? But it still would be too small. 0.1 seems like a nice value, but probably you can play around with that, right? And it is steering the car, right? So probably for RPGs, strategy games, etc., this will be balanced, right? Tick interval for the observation window. And let's see how they are doing, right? Let's turn off the output log. It's been like 10 minutes. Oh, look at that. They're driving better now. My little minions. I might not do the tensor board today. It will be a 2-parter because I still want to do the imitation training, you know, play the car myself and actually see how the imitation would work, because, you know, this is a simple example. I would want to have some kind of agents for my game that is completely different, way more inputs to be had, and I want, you know, I want to see, you know, if I could play the game myself first so I could speed up the process, because for car, yeah, it is a perfect example of how it can learn how to drive, right? But for other more hardcore games, to get from the crawling state to actually, quote unquote, to use the metaphor, driving state, it might be a lot. It might be a lot of time, and it might not get there ever, right? Because the reward function and the confluence of things might be as such that it would be extremely hard to do. So imitation training might be a must. Marmalade says they do be driving. Marmalade says also would be fun to try and recreate this. Let's take it. Ah, I think I watched that. Yeah, multi-agent hide and seek, and it is from OpenAI when, you know, OpenAI didn't have such bad rap before, right? Yeah. It was before COVID, can you imagine? Yeah, I remember this video. Yeah, it's that thing here is you know, exactly similar situation, and it's not generative AI that they are using. It's not, you know, ChatGPT, right? Even though it features the logo of OpenAI, but it was way more complex than what is here right now in Epic, I think. But yeah, something similar probably could be done. But I think instead of like starting from nothing, faster way would be going with the imitation training first. Let's get back to our minions. It is kinda, I'll be honest, a little bit therapeutic and a little bit zen to observe how they are learning and how some of them are almost completing the full racetrack. So a lot of setup, and that setup was given to us, right? If we were to adapt it to our own games, we really have to analyze what they did here and how to adjust it to our games. Possibly write some C++ function because they had shortcuts such as, where the fuck was that? Such as, where was that? When we were setting up things. It was an interactor, yes. Like specify location along spline observation, right? This is like a ready-made function that was ready to observe things along the spline. But what if you are not working on a spline? What if you have different stimuli, let's say, right? Other than spline observation. You need to think this through and probably write your own C++ function for that. Marmalade says, what if track will not be round shape? And then it probably would have to be trained in a new track, I guess, or maybe not. I mean, one thing it would need to have, it would have to have a spline, right? Because it is learning how to drive close to a spline. I'm not sure if we will be able to make this experiment today, but maybe on the next stream, we'll quickly create like a new racetrack and spawn our AIs there and see how they are driving on a different shape, right? Because from what I understand, they are learning, in general on this, how they should, drive in such a way that they would be basically following the spline almost perfectly with a little room for adjustment, right? And in theory, they perfectly trained AIs agents should be able to move around as long as there's spline information, right? But we will test it on the next stream. Dexterowski said, turn on collision now. Oh my god, if they would have to learn how to also navigate around colliding with everything else, so basically they would have to learn how to be Boyd simulation through AI, I don't think it would work. But it would be funny to look at. Marmalade says, time to train them to drive on F1 circuit. Yes. Yes. Exactly. Create artificial Robert Kubica. Marmalade says, at the core of it is all the same idea. You just need to figure out the inputs you can give, what outputs ML and machine learning can provide, and how to score how good it does the task. But if you get all three components right, you can do anything, basically. Yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. That's why I really wanted to explore this, because it seems like, testing and figuring out, of course, the scoring, right? What is the input? What input are you giving? What output are you getting? And how it steers, the pawns or whatever subsystems, because it doesn't have to be actor, right? Or at least they said that it can be any U object. Really. So what is the input? What is the output for your game? And how are you going to score them? And the scoring is important because if the scoring will not be done in such a way that it makes sense for the machine learning, that's the thing. It has to make sense for the neural network to process, not for humans specifically. Then it just won't work, right? You have to find a good scoring function, let's call it, right? And then you can train some bots to run your game, do some auto QA, or maybe actually develop a feature like neural network dungeon master for your game, Left 4 Dead 2 style. Marmalade says, I think these cars are trying to avoid each other. Right now, it might look like this, but right now, not really. They have collision off. They don't even know that they are colliding. They're just trying to, stay on track. What might happen after the full training session is if we turn on collision, in theory, they should bounce off from the other car and they should try to get back to the spline in the middle, which might, of course, turn into a huge collision and clusterfuck for 32 cars. But if you had like player car and free car opponent, it might actually make sense. The one thing that it is hard from the design point of view is if those were to be suddenly turned into enemies, your virtual enemies, it would be hard to balance them to some of them be like a great racer, some of them be like a dumb racer, you know what I'm saying? You would have to like artificially throttle the AI here. Like, okay, it wants to, go full speed, but you artificially be like, your full speed is not there, so AI will be fighting against system. It might be hard to balance that. So, yeah, I would say that's also like what Epic said might be interesting, that you can combine possibly behavior tree or state tree with that you can turn on and off your agent at specific point for specific action or specific state you're turning on. So it will do the agent work and then revert back to actual algorithm or whatever script you're running on it. Marmalade asks, what inputs do they have? Just spline and speed? Yeah, basically their observations are spline location, spline direction, and car velocity. This is their input. Like, where am I on the spline? Which direction? And what is my car velocity? Right? And the output that they give is the steering of the movement component, this chaos vehicle movement component, and throttle brake, the same API for vehicle movement component. I can show you how it was created. Specify agent observations. You overwrite this function, and this is their input, right? Which is location along spline, direction, and then velocity from car, right? And these are the observations that they can have. This is how you define how do they get those observations, right? So you are taking, your track spline, your actor that you're observing, you're making location along spline observation, right? So where are you? The direction. Then you're making the observation of velocity of your actor, right? In a relative way. So it won't be dependent on your, world space, right? And yeah, that part is actually, it looks like cool to specify, right? Quickly. You create an schema not as a data asset, but here in function, which I kind of like, I'll be honest. Then you tell it how it can make that observation, and the same with action, the input, right? You specify the inputs. Here it is, steering, throttle brake. It is a float action. There are lots of other actions, right? And then you are creating a script function. It also can be done in C++, right? And you can translate whatever the neural network is outputting and break it up and set it as a steering input, brake input, etc., for your components or whatever the fuck you're working with, right? So that's really cool. Interactor. The name, that's funny because the names are like kind of gamified. I remember, studying about neural networks at university almost more than 10 years ago. It's making me depressed, really, the time passage. But the naming convention was a little bit different. So right now being like, oh, it's interactor, okay. Training environment makes sense, but interactor is a weird name. Observation, okay, that's okay, but the action, like some of the naming convention here seems, if you are coming off of, machine learning, you might be like, oh, okay, that's the unreal naming. But once you get used to it, it's like, okay, observation, this, and that. Here's how you can specify the agent reward. Right, you are gathering the reward, and depending on how far you are from the spline, make an observation basically on location difference and velocity, and reward that. You can find out, depending on the state of your agent, you can terminate, right, your current run. And how do you reset the agent to start new observation, right? To start new training run. It's all really... Clicking through and copying was a lot. I feel like, once you set up the learning manager, Here when you're actually making interactors, making policies, right? Critic, you've set up a lot of this clicking through. Then you're set up and you can actually, you know, adjust things for everything, right? Possibly you could create, like, especially today with Cloud Code, some wizard that would be auto-populating your shit like this. And then you can just, you know, work with it. And just click through things and only concentrate on, like, what are you observing? What are your reward functions? When are you terminating your run? Etc, etc. And let's see, it's been like 12 minutes or something. They're still falling off, right? Some of them, but some of them, when I observe it, you know, they are actually finishing whole laps. That's nice. Marmalade asks, I'm now inspired to try and recreate that OpenAI demo. Do it, fuck it. Man, and you also have like AI server, right? If you could run your Unreal there, I'm not sure if Unreal can, of course it should be able to make use of multiple GPUs. I'm just not sure if those learning agents are GPU or CPU. So that you would have to find out, but yeah, because you can render movies with Unreal, right? And it can take charge of GPU farm, so maybe, you know, you could do something with your big rack of 33 GPUs. Let me visualize it. 33 GPUs. It's like, how big of a box we are talking? Is it a box? How did you set it up? Is it like as big as my room here, or? And cat is asleep. I wanted to show him once again, but I don't want to, you know, break up his sleep. He's still regenerating after procedure, after all. This is kinda... It is a zen experience to watch that. Yeah, but it makes you think. It's doing it fast because we have 32 race cars. Doing it all the time, right? For example, if you're training bots to play, I don't know, like a card game or RPG session that is single player, you would need to just run multiple instances of prepare your game in such way that even though it is a single instance, it runs multiple games at the same time. So to save up on, you know, whole Unreal Engine initializations, right? Because the thing that you can do is run it as a headless editor, right? And a couple of instances of it, if I understand it correctly. That's something that we will try on next stream. Both imitation training and trying to run a headless version of it, right? So it wouldn't have to render, and we can spend all of the compute power just on training, not visualizing it, right? So these are the next step for the next stream. This is a two-parter right now. Because we still have to improving observing and debugging. There's like something we could do. Why didn't it work well? It works kind of well, but we can add look ahead observations. Okay. We will use visual debugging logger. That's nice. I never really used that. Headless training, network snapshots. I really want to dig in through this. Tensor board, yes, I want to set it up. And the final piece of what I want is imitation learning. That you are recording yourself playing, and that setups the initial weights. The initial, yes, weights of the neural network matrix, right? Yeah. So only the first point it took us so much of time, and most of it was copying the setup and fixing uncompiling blueprint, right? So I'm kind of mad about that, but we got there. Marmalade says, like a tall closet, I have 5 for you server racks. Most of them have GeoS GPUs, some have networking and storage, and one is with the main system. Oh, alright, alright. Tall closet. What kind of cooling do you have there? Is it like a typical server cooling? Or did you do some like extremely custom setup for the whole closet? Because I imagine it is generating a shitload of heat. But you can save up on heating in your apartment with that. Although I'm not sure if it is cost effective. Yeah, probably like 2 hours or more for that, and it would learn how to drive that basic way, right? I'm not sure why every now and then it terminates all of that. Every agent is getting reset, but on the next stream we will add those look ahead observations. We will try to run it headless, and we will, turn on the tensor. And if we'll have time, and I would love to have time, we will try to do the imitation, because that's like the main goal for me. Marmalade says, fucking jets are going off in my room, so yeah, it's typical server cooling. So it is loud. It is loud in your room. Damn. Damn. Nice. All right. I think, Oh, Marmalade says, I don't have like a dedicated server room here, so this machine is in my bedroom. And when I run it, I can't hear anything. Oh my god. I don't know if you have the, how is it called in English? The decibels measurement, the noise measurement system. I wonder how many decibels you are having in your room. Is it like an actual airplane? Because it might be extremely loud for a small room, right? All right, I think that is for me. My brain hurts a little bit, but it's mostly from this copying and pasting things. Copying the setup wasn't nice. It was faster than setting it up from the get-go, but I hated this process. But in the end, I learned a little bit about how to use that. On the next stream, as I said, we'll go further with that topic, try to make those observations a little bit better, run it headless, imitation, tensor, and yeah, and for sure, after the next week's stream, that was a wild movement that the guy did there. Like he, reversed and then came back to it. Wow. I will probably pause it, because the next time I want to get back to it is to use it on my own game. I don't have that much game to use it on right now, but for sure this topic will be back on like non-example game, right? Marmalade says, answers about the noise. At maximum, it can reach like 75 decibels if iPhone microphone is correct. That's loud. If I remember correctly, let me just quickly check that. Noise, that's it. Scale chart. Oh, that's the one that I like. Just show me. So it's almost, close to a busy street. It is pretty loud. It is like city traffic. It's almost as if you had a truck. I'm not sure if you can see this picture. Just go like this. Yeah, you are somewhere between just, car traffic and truck in your house. But still not as loud as hairdryer. If, of course, iPhone microphone is calibrated correctly, which might not be, but at least it's give the ballpark for the noisiness. All right, so without further ado, I think we are seeing each other next week on Sunday, as usual, and we will, go further into the topic of learning agents, part 2. I hope you guys have a nice rest of the day and great next week. See you next Sunday. Bye bye, guys.